Listen, Leo, a plot twist is coming. But not the kind that throws you off track. This twist? It's filled with good news, divine surprises, and long-awaited blessings that are finally ready to land in your life. And the fact that you're here, watching this video right now, is not random, it's your sign. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where we go beyond surface-level predictions and tap into the soul of the cosmos. This is your in-depth horoscope reading for April 19th through the 21st, and trust me, you'll want to stay with me until the very end. Because what's unfolding for you isn't just astrology. It's alignment. In the next few minutes, you'll see why the universe led you here. Right now, your energy field is shifting, shedding old patterns, outdated beliefs, and emotional weight that no longer belongs to your future. And as that old layer peels away, something magnificent is rising, a new chapter, a clearer path, and a deeper connection with your own power. You're entering a window of destiny. A plot twist designed by the stars. And Leo, you're not just going to survive it, you're about to thrive in it. You may have already felt it, through recurring numbers like 6, 10, 11, 14, 15, 18, through flashes of insight, unexpected conversations, or moments of déjà vu. These are not coincidences. These are activation points, little cosmic breadcrumbs leading you back to the truth of who you are. This is your time to release control, surrender the outcome, and finally say yes to the abundance you've been asking for. It's coming, faster than you think. But first, you have to open the door. So tell me in the comments, what angel number has been chasing you lately? Drop it below as a sign to the universe that you're ready to receive. Your comment could be the start of a transformation you didn't expect, but deep down, you always knew was coming. Let me also take a heartfelt moment to say, thank you. Every like, every comment, every subscription, you are not just supporting a channel. You are co-creating a space of healing, insight, and community here at Eternal Mindfulness. Your presence here fuels everything. And your energy, Leo, is not just felt, it's honored. So stay with me, radiant soul, because what the universe is about to reveal may just be the very blessing you've been praying for, dressed up as a plot twist you didn't see coming. Let's dive in. Sometimes, the path to everything we've ever wanted doesn't begin with a leap forward, but with the quiet, tender release of what no longer fits. After all, Leo, how can your hands receive new blessings if they're still clenched around what's been weighing you down? In the previous moment, we spoke about a plot twist approaching your life, one filled with good news and blessings. But here's the truth the stars are whispering: the twist can't unfold if you're still carrying the outdated script. The celestial energy around April 19th to 21st isn't just opening new doors, it's also gently closing the ones you no longer need to walk through. And the art of closing with grace is something many of us forget to honor. There's something deeply powerful about letting go. Not in the dramatic, tearful sense we often imagine, but in the quiet acknowledgement that you've outgrown a role you were once proud to play. Maybe it's the belief that you always need to be strong, radiant, and in control, the unshakable center of your universe. Or maybe it's the subtle conditioning that told you your worth is measured by how much you can carry for others. But Leo, what if I told you that your true power doesn't come from what you carry, but from what you're willing to set down? The cosmic invitation for you right now is to release, without fear, without shame, and most importantly, without the need to justify it to anyone. This is about reclaiming space. Emotional space. Mental space. Space in your heart to feel again, and space in your life to allow the unexpected to surprise you. Letting go isn't about loss, it's about making room. And anything that is truly meant for you will never need to be clutched so tightly. In some traditions of inner awareness, they speak of the empty bowl, the vessel that can only receive because it is not already full. The more we empty ourselves of what we think we need to hold, the more life can fill us with what we're truly ready for. It's the same with your energy field. When you unhook from attachments, outcomes, and stories that define you by your past, you become open again, to flow, to movement, to magic. And it's okay if this brings discomfort. Transformation often does. But growth, Leo, is less about effort and more about alignment. And sometimes, the deepest alignment begins when you finally whisper to yourself, "I'm allowed to stop holding this." Whether this is a belief, a role, a person, or a pressure, it's time. So tonight, when things are quiet and you can hear your own breath, write down what you're ready to release. Fold it gently, hold it over the flame of a candle or beneath the light of the moon, and as the words transform, so do you. You don't need a ceremony, just your presence. And as you watch that paper burn or feel it crumple in your hands, imagine the energy of that burden rising out of your body like steam, leaving behind clarity and stillness. You might notice it in subtle ways, a lighter heart, a deeper exhale, a sense that something just shifted even if nothing outside has changed yet. That's not your imagination. That's the weight lifting. That's your field clearing. That's the beginning of you making space for what's truly yours to come rushing in. And remember, you don't need to carry it all to prove your strength. Real strength is knowing what to release. And the moment you do, you make room for the blessing that's been circling you, waiting for this exact moment. You'd be surprised how often the loudest voices in our lives come from within. And more often than not, those voices don't sound like cheerleaders, they sound like skeptics. They echo doubts, replay old stories, and whisper things like, "Are you sure?" Or worse, "Who do you think you are?" But Leo, what if I told you that the brightest light in your life has always been coming from inside you, not for anyone else to witness, but because it's your nature to shine? After letting go of roles, weight, fear, there's a natural stillness that follows. And in that space, something powerful stirs, the gentle rise of self-belief. Not the kind that needs to prove, but the kind that knows. Self-belief is not a destination, it's a practice, a steady returning to the truth that you are already enough. Not because of your achievements. Not because others said so. But because you exist, and your presence alone carries worth. The numerological energy around you now is vivid and insistent. The number 1 is all about new beginnings, not ones that are handed to you, but ones that you initiate. And the number 11 is a gateway number, aligned with intuition, clarity, and heightened awareness. Together, these numbers are nudging you to take your rightful place, not just as someone who receives the blessings, but as someone who actively calls them in. You are not a bystander in your own destiny. You are the artist holding the brush. There's an ancient principle that teaches, with the mind clear, the path appears. And the mind, Leo, only becomes clear when we stop filling it with the noise of needing external validation. Think of your energy like a flame. It doesn't need to be huge or dramatic to be real. It just needs to be consistent. And when that fire is lit from belief, not expectation, it becomes sustainable. It warms from within. It moves with intention. It glows, even in the dark. Every morning, speak gently to yourself. These words are not fluff, they are structure. They rebuild the parts of you that the world may have worn down. Affirmations like, I am enough or I trust my light might seem simple, but over time, they become anchors. And when things around you feel uncertain, your own voice becomes the one you can return to. But let's be honest, believing in yourself isn't always easy. Especially when the evidence hasn't arrived yet. Especially when dreams take longer to bloom than expected. Especially when your brilliance goes unseen by others. And yet, this is precisely the space where trust is forged. Not just trust in the outcome, but trust in your ability to walk the path before the road fully reveals itself. So ask yourself, are you holding your breath, waiting for someone else to give you permission? Are you delaying your dream until someone validates that it's worthy? If so, this is the moment to exhale. To step in. To remember that your fire, your creativity, your ideas, your magic, doesn't need a spotlight to be real. It just needs your attention. Your care. Your belief. There is a quiet liberation in choosing yourself. In becoming your own witness, your own believer, your own source of steadiness. Because when you do, the world no longer defines your worth, it simply mirrors it. And everything you've been waiting for? It begins to recognize you in return. So take this breath, Leo. Stand tall, not to be seen, but to see yourself clearly. The plot twist isn't just what's happening around you. It's what's unfolding within. What often surprises people the most is how naturally love and abundance flow in, once the weight has been released and belief is restored. When your inner world softens, the outer world starts to respond differently. And now, Leo, with your heart a little lighter and your self-belief reignited, a new frequency begins to ripple outward. That frequency is receptivity. You're no longer chasing or forcing, instead, you're inviting and allowing. And that small shift changes everything. In astrology, when the Ace of Cups appears, it symbolizes not just a new emotional beginning, but a sacred overflowing. It's a signal that the heart is ready to receive something profound, connection, inspiration, healing, or even the reawakening of self-compassion. For you, Leo, this moment is about recognizing that love doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It doesn't have to arrive as a dramatic entrance. Sometimes, it's simply the quiet return of warmth to your own inner dialogue. Other times, it's the gentle reappearance of a person whose presence feels like home, no explanation needed. Emotionally, when the heart begins to open again after being guarded for so long, it can feel vulnerable. But that vulnerability is not weakness, it's space. It's where life begins to flow again. And when we create space in the heart, something else happens too, the channels of abundance begin to clear. Because the truth is, love and prosperity are never as separate as we imagine them to be. They share a root, worthiness. And as you begin to feel worthy of tenderness, joy, and care, you also become a magnet for the physical reflections of that worth, opportunities, wealth, support. The wheel of fortune turning in your favor during these days is not just about chance. It's momentum that has been building for some time, catalyzed now by your inner alignment. Think of it like a wheel that was stuck because something, doubt, guilt, fear, was jamming the gears. But now that you've let go, now that you're believing again, now that you're softening into your natural radiance, that wheel spins freely. And when it moves, it brings with it the kind of blessings that feel effortless, not because they require no work, but because they flow where they are welcomed. Practical steps can help ground this energy. Writing down a career intention and tucking it beneath your pillow is a small but sacred act of anchoring your vision in both the conscious and subconscious mind. It's a gesture that says, "I trust what I cannot yet see." Carrying something green, whether it's a crystal, a piece of clothing, or a leaf from a favorite tree, helps keep you attuned to the energy of growth and prosperity. Green is the color of the heart chakra, yes, but also of nature's natural rhythm, always blooming, always evolving, never forcing. There's also a deeper wisdom at play here. When we stop trying to own or control outcomes, and instead, become stewards of our energy, tending to our heart, our habits, our mindset, life often brings us more than we imagined. Not because we manipulated it, but because we matched it. And just like a flower doesn't bloom by rushing its petals open, your abundance, your love, your success, they all come more gracefully when you stop clutching and start trusting. So as you move through these next few days, watch for small signs of opening, a smile that lingers longer, a conversation that lifts your spirits, a message or idea that feels perfectly timed. These are not coincidences. They're reflections. They're confirmations that the wheel is indeed turning, and that something beautiful, both in the heart and in the world, is on its way to you. Even when no one's watching, even when progress feels invisible, even when you've had to quietly hold yourself together without applause or recognition, something within you has known to keep going. And that knowing, Leo, is not ordinary. It's wisdom born of the soul's deep patience. What looks like stillness on the outside is often quiet momentum on the inside. And now, just beneath the surface of your daily life, something is beginning to shift, not because you rushed, but because you waited well. This is the part of your journey that many overlook, the slow, faithful tending of your own energy while the world kept spinning. The nights when you reminded yourself that growth takes time. The mornings when you chose to try again, even when it felt like you were standing still. And that effort, that unwavering trust in something better, is never wasted. What you're about to experience now isn't luck, it's arrival. It's the flowering of roots you've been watering in silence. The energy of the Nine of Pentacles reflects this beautifully. It's not the result of chasing, pushing, or proving, it's the natural outcome of inner alignment and perseverance. It's a state of independence that doesn't isolate, but liberates. You've cultivated strength from the inside out, and now you're being met with the rewards of that discipline, whether in your finances, your personal stability, or simply a renewed sense of peace in your own skin. In cycles of time and energy, there's an understanding that everything blooms in its season. You can't force the fruit to ripen before it's ready, just as you can't force clarity before confusion has taught you what it needed to teach. Patience, in this sense, isn't waiting with frustration, it's choosing presence over urgency. It's the kind of patience that doesn't freeze or paralyze, but breathes. Listens. Trusts. And in that trust, something begins to gather. What's coming into your life now is not an accident. It's been circling you, gently orbiting closer, waiting for you to become the version of yourself who is ready to receive it. And now, because you didn't give up, because you stayed steady when things didn't make sense, that version of you is here. Every morning that you choose gratitude over resentment, even just for a single breath, you realign with that receiving energy. And sometimes, that's all it takes to open the door. Gratitude is a quiet magnet. It doesn't ask for fireworks. It whispers, I see what's here, and I'm willing to hold space for more. When you begin your day with a thank you, not just out of habit but from that deep place of acknowledgement, you start to feel your own power again. And that power is calm, grounded, and generous. There's a teaching that says the lotus only blooms after its roots have anchored deeply in the mud. That beauty, that soft unfolding, is not separate from struggle. It's the reward of having remained in the discomfort long enough to grow through it. You've done that. You've stayed in the hard parts. You've held your center. And now, like the lotus, you're beginning to rise, naturally, unapologetically. If you've been feeling subtle signs, a sense of release in your body, unexpected ease in your schedule, or a surprising moment of clarity, those are not random. They are early petals of what's about to fully bloom. Let yourself enjoy this. Let yourself feel proud of how far you've come, even if no one else knows the whole story. You've waited well, Leo. And now, you're not just stepping into the reward, you're becoming the reward. That is the real magic. And it was always yours. Some moments in life don't arrive with noise or fanfare. They come as a subtle but undeniable shift, a soft click inside you that says, I'm done repeating this. And for you, Leo, this is that moment. After the letting go, the rediscovery of your light, the opening of your heart, and the patient tending of your energy, something even more profound begins to emerge, the clarity that you don't have to live the same story anymore. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from physical effort, but from emotional repetition, from playing out the same pattern over and over again, hoping for a different result. Maybe it's a cycle of self-doubt that sneaks in every time you're about to take a leap. Maybe it's the loop of always showing up for others but leaving yourself last. Or maybe it's a dynamic that shows up in relationships or career where you shrink to fit instead of allowing yourself to fully expand. These patterns become so familiar, so normalized, that we stop seeing them as loops, and start seeing them as life. But not anymore. The energy you're stepping into now is different. It's decisive, bold, and alive with possibility. Ace of Wands energy doesn't wait for permission, it strikes. It's the match that ignites change, the yes that breaks inertia. And what's powerful about this moment is that it doesn't require a dramatic overhaul. It just asks for movement. A single, aligned action can disrupt years of mental replay. A choice made from your current clarity has the power to override choices made from past fear. There's a simple truth at the core of many wisdom paths: a loop breaks when presence enters. And presence, Leo, is something you've been cultivating this whole time, in the pauses between doubt and hope, in the discipline of showing up for yourself, in the quiet conviction that your life can feel different. That conviction is now turning into action. The thing is, we often wait for motivation or confidence to appear before we act. But real transformation usually works the other way around. We act, even with trembling hands, and confidence comes from the act itself. You don't need to burn bridges or take massive leaps. You only need to take one real step in the direction your intuition has been nudging you toward. That could be as small as clearing a space in your home that holds stagnant energy. Sending a message that's been sitting in your drafts. Saying no when your pattern is to say yes. Each of these is a spark. And when honored, that spark becomes fire. The symbol of infinity has appeared more than once in your energetic field this week. It's not just a pretty sign. It's a reminder that your life is not linear. It loops, it spirals, it revisits what needs resolution. But within that spiral lies your power. You can step out at any time. You can end a loop not through force, but through presence and choice. You don't have to keep proving what you've already learned. So if you're wondering whether this really is the time, whether you're really ready to close a chapter for good, know this: you're not just ready, you're equipped. You've walked with the weight long enough to know what lightness feels like. You've circled the same lesson enough times to finally embody the teaching. And you're not going back. Not because the past is bad, but because the present finally fits. This is where the loop ends. Not with resistance, but with recognition. Not with running, but with returning to your truth, your fire, your freedom. And the beautiful thing? Once you take that first clear step, you don't just break a cycle. You build a new one, on your terms, in your rhythm, lit by your own spark. You've walked through fire without burning. You've outgrown your past without needing to destroy it. And now, Leo, you're standing at the edge of something vast, something real, something beautifully yours. What you've just heard in this reading wasn't just guidance, it was a mirror. A reflection of your own capacity to shift, to rise, to choose a different experience, starting now. This moment is no longer about waiting for signs. It's about recognizing that you are the sign. The calm in your chest, the quiet certainty growing inside you, the knowing that you're not the same person you were just a few days ago, that's not random. That's alignment. And with that comes a deeper kind of power. The kind that doesn't demand attention, because it already radiates from within. So the question now isn't, will something change? The question is, will you meet the change halfway? You don't need to roar to be heard. You don't need to force anything into place. Your light, when grounded in truth and guided by intention, is more than enough. Let this next chapter be less about proving and more about embodying. Less about waiting and more about receiving. Less about striving and more about remembering who you've always been beneath the noise. If you felt a loop break open, if a word or moment from this message stirred something deeper in you, don't ignore it. Write it down. Sit with it. Act on it. And then ask yourself, what is the smallest, truest thing I can do today to move with this energy? Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's a simple breath taken with intention. But that one act of courage, that's how everything shifts. And if you're still here, still listening, it's because a part of you knows, this message was meant for you. That you didn't stumble upon this video, you were guided. And now, I want to hear from you. Speech balloon, what's the one thing you're releasing right now? Dizzy, have you seen angel numbers, like 6, 10, 11, 14, 15, or 18, or perhaps the infinity symbol appearing in your path lately? Drop them in the comments, not just to share, but to declare. Because your voice, your presence, and your reflection help co-create this sacred space we're building together. A space where growth isn't rushed, where light is honored, and where every soul, especially yours, gets to be seen. Let me take a moment to say this from the deepest part of my heart: thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for trusting your path, even when it didn't make sense. And thank you for being here with me, with us, at Eternal Mindfulness, where every like, every comment, every moment of connection is a seed planted for something greater. So if you found resonance in this reading, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this energy with someone who may need it today. Not just to support the message, but to amplify your own alignment with what's possible. Because the truth is, Leo, the world doesn't need you to be louder. It just needs you to be exactly as you are, whole, lit from within, and finally ready to step forward with your full heart. And you are.